Hello, everybody. How are you? It's Angel and yes, and Whitey. Here she is. She is very vocal today, so she's going to be a part of our show, it seems. Um, how is everybody today? It is a glorious pumpkin spice latte day. I'm just going to take a second and go over to my page because I want to make, oh, isn't that cool? It just came up. Oh, wow, that's really neat. Hi, everybody. Love having everybody here. Hi, Kim. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Angie. How are you guys? Love having everybody here. Today we're going to be talking about different cultural rituals. We might even, oh, really, how rude. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. And actually, it's interesting because she's kind of reminding me of one particular ceremony I want to talk about for those who have animals. So I will talk about that a little bit later. Hi, Corey. Hi, Maria. Hi, guys. How are you? For those of you who are just joining us, my name is Angel Morgan, and this is my show, which I absolutely love doing every week. If you want to know more about it or you want to know more about me, you can go to raisingenergy.com. You can go to Raising Energy on Instagram, or you can actually rewatch all of these shows on YouTube. On my channel, and there's all kinds of wonderful, wonderful stuff there. I actually was thinking of going there today and finding some clips of ceremonies from Peru and Africa, Native Aboriginal ceremonies, and those are some of the ones we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about Egyptian ceremonies. We're going to be talking about ceremonies you can do at home for yourself. And that, I think, is really important because my show and all the work I do is all about helping you, the viewer, understand that you are intuitive. You have this ability. And that was very, very, very blatantly obvious to me 2 weeks ago when I did my African ceremony with Iboga. And iboga is a very interesting little plant, and that's going to be exciting because next week I have an iboga guide, medicine man expert, who has worked with the Bwiti tradition and has actually gone to Africa to train, goes to Africa to work. And he is an amazing, wonderful human being, and that's Luis Macanza da Silva. He'll be with us next week on my show, so you don't want to miss that. You want to tell everybody about it because I swear to God, you do not want to miss this one. And it's going to be exciting. So that's actually where we're going to start is my experiences. Ritual and ceremonies are things that we do to help us manifest, help us heal, help us move forward, help us connect to great creator spirits, our higher selves in a more direct way. So every day I'm able to connect to spirits and guides and guardians and angels and archangels and animals and what have you. But if I sit down and I create a sacred space for myself, some people will call that a circle, whatever, a healing space. They're all labels, but they all do the same thing. They create a vortex, a circle of power, cone of power where you can sit within, and in that the channel or the telephone gets picked up and you can go, hey, you know what, this is a way clearer reception to God, this is really great. And there are so many specific times of the year that you can do that, but you can do this anytime. I've always been taught, and I've always felt that the only time we do ceremony is those moments when we truly need them. And you know what's really funny? We do ceremony every day. We have our rituals, right? We wake up in the morning, we look at our phone, or we get up, we have our coffee, we brush our teeth. We do all of these little things that we can consider ritual. So why do we do it, right? Why do we create little rituals for ourselves every day? Number one, to feel better, right? To give us that sense of safety, that sense of routine that makes us feel good inside. But there's another reason we like rituals as human beings. It's to be aligned, right? So we wake up in the morning, the mental, the physical, the emotion come together as we create the person or persona that we're taking out into the world. So when we open that door and we walk out in the world, here is that character that we create, and we go, okay, you know what, I feel empowered, I feel aligned, right? Even if it's like, so tired, I feel aligned, totally aligned. We've done those rituals to help us feel who we are, not know who we are, feel who we are. And that's really important to understand, that rituals are done every single day. Okay. Carissa, hello. Carmela, hello. I love seeing everybody here. And I think we're going to have a really great show today. So this is important to understand, that ceremony and ritual is really a part of who we are. And if we go back to the ancient times, this was something that we did for ourselves and for our families. Even having a meal and preparing a meal on Sundays, the way my family did, that was a ritual. We would go to church. My dad would take me down to the bakery. We'd buy the bread. This was a Sunday ritual that we did every week. And my mom would make the food. And in making the food, understand, it's one of the reasons we say, you know, nothing is like mom's dinner or mom's food or mom's this or mom's that. Because when mom makes it, there's an energy she puts into it of love and care and joy. And when my son makes food, it's so different than mine, outside of the fact that he can really cook, because he puts his flavor in it, his energetic flavor into it. And that's another show when we talk about foods and energetic foods. Lorianne, oh my God, hello, how are you? These are really important things to understand, that when we do things for ourselves and for our families, especially if they're consistent, not only are we creating rituals for ourselves, we're creating traditions for ourselves, but we're creating a cumulative energy. Every single Sunday we did those dinners and lunches and what have you, and that creates an energy within us that we keep for the rest of our lives. So a really good example of that is my mom would make these wonderful broth soups. I still love them. To this day, I make them, right? Especially on Thanksgiving, with turkey broth soup and that kind of thing. So 2 weekends ago, I did my Iboga ceremony, which is a tradition from Africa, from the Bwiti tradition. And I woke up on the Saturday morning after the ritual, because it's an all-night ritual that starts Friday night and goes up until the rooster crows, so to speak. And I woke up and all I could smell was this broth that our guide Lewis had made for us. And it was like being at home. For a moment, I actually woke up and thought I was a little girl again. And it was just such an amazing moment. So cool. And then the next day I woke up, and it was so funny because he was playing Andrea Bocelli in the kitchen, which is one of my favorite singers. Like, it was an incredible experience to relive all these wonderful memories. And now Lewis doesn't even know these things about me, right? So that was his intuition, is to be able to do these kinds of things that connect and resonate with him, connected and resonated with me, right? So I find it really, really interesting that we create our own rituals to also help us feel safe. Okay. And this is what the gods are for. This is what religion is supposed to be for. Spirituality is supposed to be for, to know that we are safe, that we are comfortable, that there is something else that's bigger than us out there, willing to hold our hand and keep us safe. And so when we do ceremony and ritual, this is why it's important to find those who resonate with us, who are part of our tribe and our family. Now, this particular show is really the lead up to next week's show, because next week's show is so very important for so many people. And I'm going to be posting it afterwards. I'm going to be telling everybody about it. I actually just wrote an article, and it is about my experience with Iboga 2 weeks ago. And I'll actually post it right here, because I think it's a really cool experience. Hang on a second. I'm sorry I didn't have this ready. I didn't even think about it. I should have done. It's part of the magazine that I now write for. I mean, I still have my own blog, mypsychiclifestyle.com, but this particular article is really, really important, because here it is. And I'm just going to grab that. I'm just going to grab that link for everybody. Copy that link, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to put it in my comments. I'm getting so savvy with this stuff, it's not even funny. Come on, paste. There we go. And I'm going to send you guys the link. And that's a really important one to go to, because there are also links to what Iboga actually is. So let's start from the start. When did ceremony begin? So ceremony, like I said, is an everyday thing. Rituals are things that we do for ourselves. But if you go back to the ancient times, hi Belterra, if we go back to the ancient times, people would have their harvest and their farming, and when they had when they planted their crops, they would pray to the gods for a good crop, a good harvest. They needed something to empower them to make sure, and they also, on the flip side, needed something to blame when things went bad, right? So they would go to the gods and go, we did something, we did something wrong, or the gods were unhappy, or what have you. We always need to personify things. Now, that's not to say the gods don't exist. Some believe in the gods, some do not. Those who believe in God, right? G-O-D, God, the Almighty, the Wonderful. For me, it's like a diamond. So diamond is God, or great creator. And then great creator comes to us as the different faces of that diamond. So if I believe in the goddess, God shows himself or herself as the goddess, or Buddha, or Allah, or what have you. But it all comes from source. So when they prayed to the gods of farming, or the gods of harvest, or the gods of fertility, the gods of childbirth, it was a plea to say, help us, make us feel safe. And that was very important because some people believe in collective energy. So when you have that collective energy, that ritual of prayer or invocation comes together and it helps to manifest, right? The community farm. So this is where religion and church come in. People coming together as a community with a singular ideal. This is what I believe in. This is what helps me in life. This is where my heart belongs. And it's beautiful regardless of what religion or spirituality you come from, because again, it comes from source. No matter who you pray to, no matter what you believe in, it all ties into the same thing. It all comes from the same big pot. I used to teach in high school, and when I taught history and paganism and religion studies, I used to give them the analogy of the diamond, and you would see all the light bulbs go off, and some kids would actually look at each other and it's like, wow, my God is the same as your God, and it's all intertwined. And that whole idea of intertwined is what this is about. Regardless of how you do ritual or how you do ceremony, you're calling in energies to better your life, to manifest for you, okay? Really, really important. If you have any questions about this, or you want to share your experiences with rituals and things that you've done or things that you've enjoyed, please feel free to join me as a guest. Because to me, that is incredibly important that we share with each other. My show is all about gathering, about sharing knowledge. So you have your experiences, I have mine. So my experience began with Reiki. And when you go to do a Reiki class, which is a Japanese modality, where the practitioner themselves takes in energy. So the common person, when they have a stomach ache, what's the first thing people do? They hold their stomach. Oh, my tummy hurts. Oh, it hurts so much. In that time, you're actually giving yourself energy. You're Reikiing yourself. It takes, let's say, 15, 20 minutes to feel better. Whereas somebody with a Reiki attunement, or has gone through the ceremony or ritual, okay, that is given during these classes and these learnings, will take 5 minutes. So the energy flows a lot faster. It's on a different vibration. So you're just like, oh, my stomach hurts. And within 5 minutes, you're able to Reiki yourself, use symbols if you know them. And that will actually help you move through. But in order to really work with the Reiki energy, there is an attunement. So in the Reiki culture, we call it an attunement. It's a ceremony. It's a ritual. And that opens you up to so much more energy coming through your body. And it also helps your body to come to a new level to be able to sustain that much energy. Okay, because what happens is the human body, as I learned through the Iboga, can only handle so much. I knew this before, but the reality was I really wanted to understand that. So that was actually one of the most important questions that I asked, or healings that I wanted, is I wanted to be fully realized as a spirit walker, to open up my abilities and what have you. And what happened was they showed me what it would be like if I was fully realized. And I purged like forever. And that was okay, because I started to understand that I can go to these really higher levels and I can work with my tribe, but it's not something I can experience every day, every moment of my life, nor would I want to, right? Like I can see and I can connect and I can do that kind of stuff. But to be on the level of Christ consciousness or, angels and that kind of stuff, being there and sustaining myself that way, it's just not for me. It's not what I want, right? What I want is to be the highest and best spirit walker that I possibly can be within the physical confines that I have. So every time I do an attunement, it actually helps my body get ready for that kind of energy to come through too. And those rituals are extremely important, because what you're doing is you're saying, you know what? I am dedicating my vibration to this particular energy, because energy is different, right? So you have Reiki energy, you have Iboga energy, you have Despacho energy, which we're going to talk about as well. All the different cultures have different, or all the different rituals that we experience in life are of different vibrations. So if you go into a Catholic church, their ceremony, their mass, is a ritual, a beautiful ritual that is on its own vibration. If you go to a Pentecostal church, it's a completely different vibration, and you can feel it. The second you walk into a church, because it is made as hallowed ground and sacred space, it's attuned to that. So your vibration walks in, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be lifted up into that vibration. This is why it's so comforting to go to places like that, because the vibration is so high but comfortable for each of us and attuned that everybody is welcome into this vibration. It shifts itself to be able to bring you up and bring you forward. So the whole intent after a mass or after a ritual of any kind is to help you feel like you've grown, to help you resolve issues, to help enhance who you are. That is the whole idea. Or just simply to connect and say thank you and give gratitude, which I do all the time. Thank gods, I love that kind of stuff. So as my son and I were talking last night, I feel the best when I am in a ritual space, whether it's a church or whether it's in an Iboga lodge or whether it's in a Native Aboriginal longhouse, because that's, where they used to have their meetings, what have you. It really makes me feel strong and powerful and grounded, because all the elements come together in any circle that's created, and created well, of course. So what I'd love to do today is I'm going to tell you a little bit about different cultures and different rituals and different things that I know about. And then I'm going to teach you a little bit. I'm going to teach you or show you or give you some rituals that you can actually do at home to enhance your family in your lives. And I feel this is a really important one to do right now, because we're coming out of isolation. We want to make sure our families are feeling good. Our children are going back to school. So if you know a child is going back to school, your own child, your grandchildren, these are things that you can do to make you feel empowered and to help them feel safe and to help them be safe. And that's just the way it is. So the first one we're going to talk about, like I said, was the Reiki. And we talked a little bit about that particular attunement that comes with the Reiki. Amazing. So how many people here have their Reiki attunements? Levels 1, 1, 2, or 1, 2, and 3? Because there are 3 levels. How many people here have that? Give me a heart. Give me a like. I'm watching you. Let me know if you have your Reiki. Because a lot of people do. And I always recommend to everyone, like seriously, well, most people, I shouldn't say everyone, that you get your Reiki level 1 done, because this is what blows you wide open. I really felt that when I did my Reiki, it helped me to open up and put me on my destiny's path. Everything shifted within that year. I opened up my space. I was making new friends. I started connecting to the Hedge Witch in Newmarket, which is one of my favorite places to go, in Sharon, Ontario. Everybody should check it out. And Reiki blew me wide open. It really lifted me to vibration. That's what the first level is about. So if you don't do anything else, do that. It's amazing. It's fun, especially if you work with a really great Reiki practitioner, which is what I was talking about before, is finding people who really resonate with you. And how do you find that? You put it out there. Right? Bring me that person who is right for me, that teacher, that leader. My personal and professional tribe is what I'm looking for now. Right? Bring me my personal and professional tribe. That's the thing. Or my spiritual tribe. Find me my spiritual teachers. All of these affirmations are really fantastic. That's part of my ritual every morning. I wake up and I do my affirmations before I open my eyes, because my subconscious is wide open. So I can actually program my day. And I will ask for that. I will ask for my personal, professional, and spiritual tribe. Excuse me, releasing, clearing. which is another thing that ritual is used for. So let's look at the native Aboriginal culture, which I absolutely adore. In having the blessings of working at the Hedgeridge, I learned a lot about the native Aboriginal path, the pagan path, and their rituals. And it's a beautiful space because they have their own ritual circle outside. And I was always going to their Sabbath rituals, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The native Aboriginal rituals that I was taught and I was given were tobacco ceremonies. And some of you out there actually have heard of some of the tobacco ceremonies that I've been privy to and was given, and I was given permission to share them. That's another thing. When you have another culture who does ceremony, I've always been wary of doing ceremonies of other cultures because I'm always very painfully aware of appropriation of culture. And that means you don't belong to the culture. So, how dare you do something that doesn't belong to you. But my thing is this, twofold. Number one, if it comes from the heart, it's okay. Two, if it's gifted to you and you have permission, do it. Right? Do it, because these things benefit you and they're for healing. And the reality is that it's not, for me, there's no harm in doing something if it's healing, and a culture who is open and willing and loving will say, yeah, here you go. Here you go. This is something to heal, and that we will share with you. Now, having said that, an elder should be leading that, or someone, like I said, should be giving you permission to do it. When I worked with the Peruvian path, they taught me the despacho, which is something we'll get to. And in the despacho, they said to me, you should be doing this. We need you to start doing this. I'm like, but I can't. I'm not Peruvian. And they said, it doesn't matter. You have to do this. And so I still am wary of it. I will do a despacho every once in a while if I have to, or if I really require it. But again, I only do ritual when I fairly need to. But with the native Aboriginal path, what I love about that is it's so earthy. And what I love about it is it deals with animals, and you can call on animal spirits. And with that, there's the saging that happens, which I absolutely love. When Circle is created, the cleansing is a ritual of its own, where we cleanse and we clear ourselves, and we clear the space, and we cleanse the space with sage very specifically. And the story goes that I have been taught and learned that when the tribes when they used to wander, they didn't come across water very often. And some of them, it was just really hard to come by, especially in desert land. So they would use sage, and the sage will cleanse and clear 89% of physical germs, which is one of the reasons they call it a smoke bath. It's not a water bath, it's a smoke bath. And this will cleanse and clear you. And then they found that when they did their circles and they cleansed and cleared the space, that it actually created, it cleansed and cleared 100% of energetic debris that we bring into it, our own physical, like our baggage, our spiritual baggage. And it put us in the right, beautiful space to be able to connect, and it created a channel. So this is the first thing we do. So think of it this way. When you invite somebody over, what's the first thing you do? You whip out the vacuum and you clean your house, unless it's like, your mom and she lives next door. So the big thing, understanding ritual, is it's the first things we do is we create a space. Okay. Whenever ritual or ceremony is done across the board, regardless of what culture, country, or faith you come from, there is always a cleansing. And a cleansing is to make space, to clear the space for those ancestors and higher beings to come, so that it's a place of beauty for them. Because what they're going to bring to us is beauty, okay, regardless of what you believe. So whether you sage, or whether you use crystals, or whether you call in the elements, which is a lot of times what many cultures do, is they'll call in the north, the south, the east, the west, and spirit. They do that for protection. So that's the next thing. You cleanse and you clear, right? Your space, your circle, your ritual space, your healing space, whatever you want to call it. You then call in protections, right? You want to be protected. And it's not about gooly goo-goos. It's just about making sure that the space is attuned to just the right vibration, and you don't want any other vibrations to come in that could knock you off kilter, right? So my son said to me yesterday, he goes, Mom, don't put protections on me because I've got my own. And when you do it, and I know you're being loving, he goes, that messes with my energy. He goes, I know you're doing it for my best and highest good, but just let me do my own thing. I'm a man now. Yes, you are. You know what? I totally respect that. And so when we do those protections, what we're doing is we're saying, keep out the stuff we don't need and bring in the stuff that we do need. Okay. Whereas a lot of times when we do protections, keep out everything. Well, if you keep out everything, you're going to keep out love and laughter and joy and all of those things. So every culture will cleanse and clear and protect and create space and prepare space in their own way. It's all equally as powerful. It's all equally as wonderful. It's all equally as good. So you can't say that the Native Aboriginal way is better than the Peruvian way, is better than the Catholic way, is better than this and that. It's not. It's not. It's just on different vibes. So this comes to the whole concept of which ones. Yeah, Carmel, the tobacco offering on the full moon ceremony. I believe I think I gave you that one. I'm pretty sure I did. Or you know that one yourself. Because again, this isn't exclusive to me. A lot of people know these particular ceremonies because the Native Aboriginal tribes of Canada and traditions are very open when it comes to healing. I love that about them. They're amazing. Eagle feather clearings and cleansings. In Peru, they have the condor feather, which I am very blessed to be able to have a brother and a sister feather. Again, cleansing and clearings, one with the eagle, one with the condor. Two different cultures completely away from each other, and yet they have similarities. The ritual of cleansing and clearing is, again, something that's very important. So now that we've created space, it's that whole concept of what draws us to the space. Okay, actually, I think comes before, but we're going to get there now. So many times I have been offered ayahuasca, and ayahuasca ceremonies are absolutely phenomenal. Ayahuasca is a plant, and it is ingested, and it takes you on a journey to self and great creator. And in that journey, you are able to see what things need to be healed, what things need to be worked with, not what things need to be worked on. It resolves and gives resolution to the spirit. It's very powerful Peruvian medicine. I myself have not done ayahuasca. It never called to me as much as I love it, as much as I love that country and that culture. Either I was never ready for it or I'm not on that vibe. The reality is I have many friends, many medicine people who are there, who are lovely, that I love so much, and I miss them and I talk to them. And they have gifted me with that. And I kind of went, okay, it's just not right timing. And that could be it too, readiness and timing. But when the African culture came to me, it was something that was very powerful and called to me right away. And I kind of went, yeah, you know what? I think this is something I do need to do. And others felt the same way. It's so funny that Liz, my friend Liz, just joined us, and I'm just talking about Iboga right now. And when Iboga was offered to me, I did it 4 years ago, and it was beautiful. And I was able to see the future, and I was able to see the past, and I was able to see how to heal and how to heal myself and my family. It was such a remarkable journey. And it's not a trip, but again, we'll talk about that more next week with Lewis. So you guys have to chime in, tell other people, tell everybody you know. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful journey that was quiet and peaceful. But every journey is different. The ritual space was set up very similarly. The guides were completely different people who looked at Iboga from a different perspective. So your ceremonial leader is going to also affect what vibration is going to be called in, what kind of spirits, what's right for you. And you're drawn to the ceremonial leader as well as the actual ceremony. So it has to be the right person for you. And what I tell everybody is you got to wait. You got to chillax. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher will come, as they say. And they do. They present themselves. I've never gone looking for ritual. I've never gone looking for learnings. They have come to me. I was shocked when I was taken under the wing of a wonderful Peruvian shaman, Don Marco. And he said, you have to come work with us. And I was just there to do ceremony with them. And I was so honored and so privileged just to be able to hang out with them. It was incredible experience. But again, we'll talk about what the despachos. So With the iboga, it is an all-night ceremony, and it is a wonderful ceremony that's done in Africa, but it's also been brought to Canada, the United States, England. It's all done all over the world by very, very, very gifted people. And the group that you're with will also call you to them. So the people who are within your group, it's usually between 6 and 8 people, are very special and specific to you. And I think Liz knows what that means. And again, Liz, if you want to come and join me, baby, you are more than welcome. Here is the guest link. But I will tell you, the iboga was life-changing because the way it's set is it is smudged, very specific way that the Africans smudge it. And Lewis will tell you all about that next week. And he will smudge it and he will set the space and you can smell it. And as soon as you walk in, you're already shifted into that vibration. And then the iboga is administered. And once it's administered, you get to lie down on these mats or these mattresses, and you allow the journey. And whatever happens, happens. I don't want to go too much detail, just simply because, again, we're going to be doing this next week, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But needless to say, some of the things I saw were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, one of the things I did see was one of my cats were always wondering, you know, why does she want to do something very specific? She's always wanted to go in the basement, in the basement, in the basement. And it's not always about wanting to be with Carl, wanting to be brushed. Well, it was really cool because I knew that I was going to ask to see my animals, because you can ask things when you're in ceremony. And all of a sudden, I saw her as a cartoon cat. It was the coolest thing ever. If I could draw, oh my God, it was so amazing. And she was upset and she was angry and she's like, I want to go in the basement. I just want to be alone. That's my space. And you guys are not listening to me. You always come down. I'm not going to touch the pool table. It's fun. And she was freaking out. And I was peeing myself laughing. And then she just shifted. And she started telling me about how she felt about Carl and what her journey was with him and why she belonged to him, which I couldn't conceive of or make up if I tried. So that's the thing, right? In these kinds of journeys, in this kind of ceremony, the things you see and experience, it's undeniable. People who don't even believe in this stuff go to do a ceremony like ayahuasca, or they go to do iboga, or they go to do Reiki, and the things they experience, it's just so undeniable in how you feel that you walk out going, wow, I understand on such a deeper level the connection between mind, body, and spirit and the other world, because you get to touch it. Like, you physically get to touch it. During my iboga, the music that they played was African all night, and it was grating on me at one point. I couldn't handle it. And then all of a sudden my body became very subdued and the African music became English. And I could hear messages, but they're still speaking African. They're still singing in African, but I can hear them in English. And they were standing right beside my mattress. And it was just the coolest thing ever, because the message I got was about letting go of the past. And other people had heard that too. They'd heard English in the African, but the messages were all individual. They were all extremely different. And that's the thing, right? So when we talk about rituals and ceremony, it's a really unique experience for everybody. Now, when you talk about this stuff too, you're talking about, well, okay, you took a psychedelic trip, like it's an LSD and it's a this. Okay, so here's the thing about iboga, and again, we're going to talk about this more next week, is that iboga is actually not a psychedelic because it doesn't have enough of the element that's considered the drug component to make it a psychedelic. But because the experiences, and you have visions, they don't know what else to label it, because the visions can be very similar to, say, shrooms or ayahuasca or any of those things. The difference here with iboga is you can see the future, and you can see the past, and you can actually call in other people's spirits. I know somebody who actually went into other people's iboga journeys, and I'm gonna tell you all about that, Liz, later. That's like so cool. They went into other people's iboga journeys, and when they were talking and sharing the next day, he was able to actually go, oh yeah, I saw that, and this is what else happened, and validate it. So it's really, really interesting. So with other modalities or ceremonies, you don't necessarily get that. So scientists don't know what to label this because there isn't enough of the actual drug component to consider it a psychedelic, but because it has visions, it's the only way they do it. So it's a little bit different, and it comes from a very ancient plant called the iboga tree, or the iboga bush, because it's a perennial bush that grows in West Africa, in Gabon, and in the Congo. Okay, so these are sacred plants. So they have medicine people who specifically work with that. They dedicate themselves to these ceremonies. Okay, they know it inside and out and backwards and forwards, and you can feel it when they're with them. So why am I doing a show on ceremony? Why do I feel that it's important to dedicate a full show to this? Simple, really simple, because we all need healing. There's always something to enhance in our lives. Even if you don't feel you need healing, you will find that there's always something to move through, something to learn, something to grow with, right? Now, if you have questions about this, please, you're more than welcome to share, or come and join me and tell me about some of the ceremonies you've done and how they've affected you. Comment and let me know about some of the ceremonies you've done so we can share it with others, because my experiences are awesome, but everybody has such individual experiences, and that's something that's exciting to be able to share with each other. So before I did the iboga, I was very blessed and privileged to be able to spend 9.5 years at the Hedgeridge, a little curiosity shop in Sharon, Ontario, with a family that is pagan, and they, what's the word I'm looking for? They saw the 8 Sabbats. So there are 8 Sabbats in the pagan New Year. Okay, sorry, in the pagan New Year, in the pagan wheel, and so there is, I don't remember how it all goes now, but it goes Yule, which is the winter solstice. I'm just going to say them. They're not going to be in order because I wouldn't be able to remember. Mabon, Lusta, Samhain, which is Halloween, my favorite one. See, now I can't even remember. And then there is, if there are any pagans out there, help me out here. There are 8 of them. 8. And so I used to go to every single one, and it was amazing. And every ceremony was different. Every ceremony had their called in and the energies of that particular time. Astora was another one. That's Easter, right? So that's about rebirth and renewal. So that ritual was about that, was about the new things you wanted, about getting rid of the old and bringing in new energies for yourself. Say creativity, right? I've had a creative block, so let's get rid of that and let's bring in something new. Fertility is May Day. All of these different things. Hi, Laurie. All of these different things. These different Sabbats created different energies. So those rituals were very specific to a specific energy, called a group of people of like mind who were focused in a very specific way. So every ritual and ceremony is a focused energy. Okay, everybody has an intent for that, whether it's healing, fertility, connecting to the ancestors, which is Samhain. Samhain is Halloween, and it's a beautiful time. I went to one ritual. It was so cool. They created 2 circles. So there was the circle of the living and the circle of the dead. And so we all brought pictures and candles, and we put them on a table in the circle of the dead. And then when night fell, there was a bridge between the 2, and we walked from one circle to the next circle, and we sat with our ancestors. And you could call in animals and grandparents. I'm still emotional with how that went because it was so incredible. And you get to spend time, because at Samhain, that's when the walls of the 2 worlds are the thinnest. That's when it's time for us to connect not only to ourselves on a very deep level, but it's also about connecting to our ancestors. And ritual can be done for pretty much anything. Oh yes, and black cats are very important. I'm joking, actually. I find that with the 8 Sabbats, it's such a beautiful thing because it's a circle. It always comes all the way back around. So when you spend the year doing each of them, by the time you finish and you come back to Yule, your life feels whole and it feels empowered. So it's not just about the one ritual. Understand that when you do ceremony, it's not just that night, or it's not just that hour, or it's not just that thing that you participated in. It's about the entire journey that comes afterwards, because all the work that was done there, it takes time. It like really takes time to unfold. And it's about the people. So my son went and did his ritual this weekend, this past week. I'm so proud of him. He went and did African Iboga. And I told him, he said, after the night, he said, Mom, he goes, I think I want to come home. And I said, you know, I think you should stay, because there are stories that you need to hear and stories you need to share, and don't be afraid of doing that. And when he came home yesterday, because they asked him to stay for a second ceremony, and he did, he was astounded. He's like, it's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and it's something I will never forget for the rest of my life. And it wasn't about ceremony even, it was about the people who were there. And that's the whole thing, right? Ceremony isn't just about the moment. It's about the people who are there, the connections that you make, the things you learn from them, even afterwards, before. And that was a huge thing for me with my last Iboga, because the people I met there were so varied. But my roommate was special. She was incredibly special. There was a purity about her. And she's here. Her name is Liz. And I know I'm embarrassing you, but I don't care. And she was amazing. I learned so much from her. And she was beautiful, and so is everybody, you know, but it was just, I needed her energy, and I think we needed each other's energy. And then afterwards, we went for this long walk in the forest. I was taking her to the subway station, and we stopped because my husband turned around and said, you got to stop somewhere I used to work. It's right around the corner. It was a conservation area. And, you know, there's no coincidence. Universe, the gods, the spirits of the Iboga, they all set it up for you. Okay, so here's a really cool story. When Joseph, my son, was a little boy, I used to see him strong and strapping when he was a young man. And I always used to have this glimpse of him playing polo. Okay, it was always polo, the game polo on a horse. But I always see him swinging and hitting the ball, and that's all I used to see. Well, it turns out that the Iboga guide was trying to choose a space to do this, and all of them kept falling through. Well, it turns out they all fell through. His cousin said, come and do it here. We're on a farm, okay, where we've got this great big barn we just converted. Guess what? It's a polo farm where they raise polo horses, and it's a polo club. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot believe this. Joseph came to me and said, I'm ready to do it. We didn't know any of this at the time, right? So they will always show you, even before, where you're going to end up, what you're going to do, where you are. Right? I never understood or made that connection until that moment. Now, what's really even cooler is he's always into the Norse mythologies. His cousin, who is on the farm, has a dog named Loki. Little tiny things to show you you're on the right track. So if you're questioning, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? Is the right path? Ask for signs, because it has to call to you. And if it calls you, it's the right path, they'll make the way. Always, they'll make the way with ceremony. Okay. So Samantha says, if the border of Michigan and Canada opens by October, I will be trying the Iboga ceremony as well. Oh my God, that is so wonderful to hear. I'm actually going to send you guys the link for that. I'm going to send you a few links today so you can learn about all these different types of ceremonies, because I feel it's important for us to truly understand that. So we were talking about pagan ceremonies. Now, pagan ceremonies are not exclusive to the Sabbats. Witchcraft is the whole concept of manifesting into this reality. A witch is a wise woman healer. So they're able to manifest for us the things that we truly need, or our needful things, so to speak. They can manifest healing. They can manifest, you know, pregnancy. I have been to beautiful fertility rituals that have ended so beautifully in their outcome. I've been to blue moon ceremonies, where the wild woman ceremonies, where on a blue moon, women get together, and it's just so beautiful to experience your womanhood under this full moon and ask for things that make you stronger as a woman, because that's what ceremony is. It's about strength. It's about inner strength. It's about feeling empowered. It's about growth. That's what ritual is. That's what ceremony is about. You know, there's a stigma to ceremony, because people are like, oh, well, you know what? You might be calling things you shouldn't, and, you know, you're playing with things, and you're not God, and you can't ask for things like that, and it's evil. Your intent when you walk into a church is the same as your intent walking into a circle, right? What is it that you want to do? You want to go pray for your ancestors. You want to go pray for your family, invoke for them. You want healing. It's the same thing, just a different way of doing things. What resonates with you? Because as I said at the beginning of the show, it all comes from source. Source is like a diamond. The diamond has many facets or faces, and Great Creator comes to you in whatever way is comfortable, whatever vibration you're on. right? So if you're in the vibration of Allah, you see Allah. If you're on the vibration of the pagans, it's the god and the goddess. If you're on the vibration of Buddha, then it's going to be Buddha. But it all comes from that same pot. I love ritual. Tess, you're welcome. Tess, that is a wonderful thing that I cannot forget. Going into circle is also about gratitude. So I've done gratitudes for myself and for others. So I've gone in and I've just literally sat in circle or sat in a ritual space to say thank you. 1 second, I'll be right back. Closing the window because they're moving along. The ritual space is there to always say thank you. So once you have been called to a certain culture and a certain circle, and the circle has been set, you found the person you want to work with, or you're working with the circle on your own. We're going to talk about that a little bit. The reality is that now that energy of gratitude becomes a huge part of it. You've done the ritual, you've done everything you've needed to, you've asked for whatever, you've done the healing, and then you say thank you. And you release those spirits, that wonder. And when you leave that circle, you're still on a high. Like literally, even if you've like taken nothing, you're still on this beautiful high because your body feels in tune and aligned and grounded. When one of our animals passed away, I allowed Joseph to help me wrap the animal and put oils on the animal. And we put a little necklace of bast as a gift to him. And we went and we buried him in a very special spot that was one of his favorites. And after we did all of this, we walked away, and I remember my very young son looking at me and going, "Mommy," he goes, "I feel terrible." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because I feel so peaceful." And I said, "Honey," I said, "that's the way you're supposed to feel. You know, ritual and ceremony is to help you be at peace, to understand what peace feels like." He goes, "Mommy, it feels so good." He goes, "But we just buried Marble." And I said, "But understand, if our piece is that, then his piece is that too." And he thought about that for a minute and went, "Yeah, that makes sense. Can we have some chocolate milk?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course we can sell it. Let's go." And it was a really interesting thing. Stacey O'Neill says, "This is so interesting. Thank you." Well, you're more than welcome. Please understand that I am doing this for you, but I'm also doing this for me. It's a bit selfish because this is one of, I mean, I have many favorite topics, but this is one I don't get to talk about a lot. Okay, and we only have so much time too, and I have so much to say. So the last one I want to talk about right now, I mean, I can talk about many, actually the last two. I'll do Egyptian really, really quick. So the Egyptian rituals, a lot of them were death rituals, and we have a lot of keepers of the dead. So Bastet is one of them, and Thoth is another. Now, Thoth is also the god of inspiration in the Egyptian pantheon. And so when we are writing, when I write, I will call on Thoth and I will say, "You know what, be with me and help me and give me inspiration." And that ceremony right there, just to ask for an energy to come and work with you. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. You know, in King Solomon's time, in the time of the Hermetics and all of that kind of stuff, and I can't go into detail of that because it's just so huge a topic. They used to spend 3 days creating a ritual space and temple to do the ceremonies, and it comes down in 3 hours. And I know certain cultures still do that, but 3 days for a ritual space, now that's dedication. I don't have that time, so my ritual spaces are very, very easy. They're very, very powerful, I think. But even then, just to call in and say, "You know what, I ask and give permission to Thoth to come in and help inspire me." Right? But Bastet is the one I wanted to talk about. When you have a cat, very specifically, it's a really interesting thing because when you call on an energy, whether you believe it's a deity or whatever, I ask you permission to whatever animal energies or other that can help my animal heal. You will be shocked at the things that begin to happen. The right veterinarian, the right medicines, the right book falls off a shelf. It's not just about the spirit stuff that happens in the moment of ceremony. Like I said, it's about stuff that happens afterwards. Follow the threads. Right? That's part of what ritual does, is it actually puts you on the right path. So if you are somebody who's, say, an addict, right, and you have lost your way, ritual can actually open that up for you and send you to the right people. Right? You're going, "I need healing, I need this, I need resolution." And all of a sudden, Iboga shows up, or Reiki shows up, or ayahuasca shows up. And you think, "Oh my God, that's so out of the blue." No, it's not. You've asked for it. You've asked for it. And this is the thing, people don't understand that it's okay to ask. We're not burdening angels. We're not burdening guides or guardians or gods or, Iboga leaders. We're not doing that. In fact, they want us to come. There's so, I was thinking about this the other day. The spirits of any ritual are doing this 24/7, and they never get tired. Never get tired of just giving the love, giving the healing, giving all of that. And I asked when I was in my car, I'm like, why do you do it? Like, what is the purpose? Because we love you. But why? Because you're our children. And I'm like, what a simple and beautiful answer. And they weren't just talking about humans, by the way. They were talking about trees. They were talking about animals. They were talking about all kinds of different things, right? When COVID was at its hardest, I sat down in circle because I was so frustrated and feeling so many things. I asked for protection from feeling all the things I was feeling, but I also asked for the healing. I also asked for people to have deeper understanding of why this is happening, right? To help them through their own anger, to help them through their own stuff. Right? So you can do that too. And you can do that at night. Close your eyes and just ask for things and fall asleep asking for things. It's beautiful. Kim says, when you are talking about a ceremony with visions and seeing past and future, do you need to be on a high vibration beforehand to truly experience it fully? Would it benefit a novice or beginner person to developing spiritually? No. That was a question someone asked me yesterday when I went to pick up Jay. The reality is I do this every single day. If I wanted to open up to a higher vibration, all I have to do is ask for it. The reason I did that was because I felt I needed healing. And for my son, it was a rite of passage into his manhood. So no, you don't have to do that kind of stuff. But for the curious, I think it's wonderful, especially if you have the right Iboga guide or the right ayahuasca guide. It's an amazing experience. So just for the experience, I would do that. But if you're trying to develop your spirituality, it can help you in understanding yourself deeply. But any ritual can do that. It's not, nothing is the be all end all. That's the other thing, right? I love this because I've experienced and had a wonderful experience with it. But ayahuasca is just is enlightening. And so is my Reiki attunement. I was on such a high over that. But no, you don't have to do anything to get you to that physical high. In fact, I believe that that stuff is unnecessary to be able to have visions. It's unnecessary to develop your psychic skills. But if you are somebody who is an addict, somebody who needs help moving through stuff, yeah, that stuff is great. If you want to develop and you're curious about it, go for it, right? My son said to me, this is undeniable. Even though it was undeniable before, it is more undeniable and tangible for me now, and he's very scientific. So everybody has their reasons for doing ceremony and ritual, but my thing is, yes, it's good to go if you're curious. But understand there is something underlying that's drawing you there. It's not just curiosity. If you decide I'm going to do a boga because I want to develop my skills, trust me, you're going to get way more than that. There's something you need to deal with. There's something you need to see. There is a future. He went in and saw things for me, and we had a discussion about it last night and went, oh my God, I understand me better. I understand you better. I understand our family better. I just understand so much better. And that's really what it's about. And when you go into ceremony, any ceremony, even ones you do yourself, expect the unexpected, because you're always going to get more out of it than you realize. Someone came to me yesterday and said, I didn't see anything. I didn't feel it. I had no visions. Did you feel? No, he didn't say he didn't feel anything. He said, I had no visions. And I said, did you feel anything during? He goes, oh yeah, I felt lots. I said, then you had a journey, right? In ceremony, it's not about going for the vision. In ceremony, it's about asking your question and see what comes to you. You could feel it. You could hear it. I went to one ceremony that I thought I didn't get anything out of it until 3 days later, and it put me on my butt, right? I had a man come to me once when I was doing a ceremony, and he goes, I didn't feel anything. 3 days later, his wife calls, goes, did you kill my husband? And he was like, his eyes were going and his nose was going and he couldn't breathe and his flu-like symptoms. That's release. Okay. So when you go, don't expect to have visions. Don't expect to do certain things. Go open, right? And see what happens. Carmel, thank you. That was a great question, by the way. Carmel, Angel, just wondering if you see something for my daughter. She's moving to Kitchener and starting to teach again after a few years of sick leave. Wondering if you see her and my grandson. Worried about her, but I am praying. And praying of itself is beautiful ritual. For your daughter, I see a lot of angst. I see a lot of needing to adjust to her new surroundings, not used to this is what I'm getting. She's going to be fine. And so is the grandson. Grandson, I feel like, is the one who's anchoring her. In fact, I feel like he's like, do. He's a little, it's not oblivious, just like he's in his own space, which is great. He worries a little bit, but nothing major. He knows what's going on. And I find that with kids and teenagers now, look to them, because if they're worried, then we should be worried. If they're not worried, they got it going on. They're so in tune. It's crazy. It's like, Luna said to me, he said, when I did my rites of passage, I did it with an 8-year-old. In Africa, they look at us and they laugh because we do all of these things and we're older. And there's like, you don't even get to that place of baggage if you understand that these rites and rituals are very important when we're younger. Joseph, as a toddler, went through what's called the presenting, which is a native Aboriginal cultural tradition, as I understand it. And he was presented to the trees and the sky and the sun and the earth and the elements and the ancestors. And I've heard some Native Aboriginal elders tell me that this is one of the reasons a lot of kids in many cultures are disconnected, especially in their culture, because they haven't been presented. What I find ironic is my son is an animal communicator, and I believe that that is really one of the reasons he's so connected and in tune with the earth, is because he did that. When I worked on the Peruvian path, they called him in and they did the Karpai for him, which is a very high and beautiful ceremony. And so now I'm working with the African path, and there he is again. So understand too, when you learn these things and you're on this path, it's not necessarily about you, it's about others. Because when you do ceremony, understand something. It will affect everybody around you. And I mean everybody. The night I did my iboga, I was asking for other people, and some people are here will testify to that. They had really weird nights, and they were having weird dreams, and they were feeling it. When my son was doing his iboga, I was in tune with him the whole time. I'm his mother, but it affected me, right? And it will affect me in my ability, to affect me in my movement forward when he does it, and vice versa, and will affect Carl. Right? So everything is cyclical. It all affects each other. When you heal, others heal. So to also add to what Kim was saying about doing it for, do you have to be high? Do you have to be? No, when you do any kind of ritual, understand that you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for others. So always expect the unexpected. Carmel says, Angel, just wondering if you see something for my daughters. Oh, I already did that one. Okay. Bruce, hello, good day. Hello, good day, Bruce. Marcel says, hi, Angel. Do you see the man I'm working with now be the one to be my business partner? Yeah, it feels right. Yeah, that really feels like right away, I just got a really amazing connection. And you can use ritual for business too, right? Like you can go in to sit in ceremony and go, which direction do I need to go in? Is this the right person for me? Simple candle. So this is one of the first rituals I ever was taught by a friend. I took a little white candle, and everybody can do this. Take a little white candle. And over the white candle, what you do is you go, this is what I'm looking for. Make it into a very simple statement. This is what I'm looking for. Blow it in. The Peruvians believe that when you blow into something, you're activating it and giving it life. Then take a little piece of yellow paper, because yellow is manifestation, write down what you want and put it under that little candle. Once it's done, one of the things I like to do is I like to fold up a little piece of paper, put it in the tin and the oil that's left, and fold it in on each other. And then what will happen is the paper will actually dry into that wax and becomes a little talisman. Keep it somewhere personal, like an underwear drawer or something like that, for you women, bra drawer, because it's with what the hoodoo believe is your personals. And that's how they do their rituals, is with personals. So a piece of hair or a fingernail or something that's very easy to work with for healing. See, this is the thing, right? In our culture, we've bastardized a lot of ceremony, because in Hollywood, we've been shown that voodoo is like, the voodoo dolly, this is what they do to pin and to do this to get revenge. Actually, the voodoo dolly was a very healing ritual that people did to help people heal, whether they had aches, pains, gout, gangrene. It was a very powerful medicine that the ancestors and the old ones would use. And there are so many different kinds of rituals. In the old days, like we're talking the ancient times, they did blood sacrifices. They don't do blood sacrifice anymore. And I'm not talking about the Houdon culture. I'm talking about the Greek culture. I'm talking about the Italian, like every culture, because that was their way in their time. That is how they understood it. So we respect that as what they understood back then. Now it's a completely different time. And it's interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine, and how we've also bastardized it. It's like, eye of newt and tail of dog. It's not an actual tail of a dog or an eye of a newt. That was the common name for a plant. So when someone was doing a ritual with herbs, it's like really cool sounding. Eye of newt and wing of bat and this of this and that of that. But those are actually all common names for plants. So even when we're doing ritual, we need to understand it. So my suggestion to you is, no matter what I give you or what I tell you, go and research it a little bit, have a little bit of fun with it, right? Candle rituals is a really great one, just to internet, it's all there. This is a really simple one that I love. The other one is a tobacco ritual. You take a piece of tobacco, which you can get at cigar stores, by the way, the Hedwich and Sharon, any kind of curiosity shop usually carries it. You take a little piece of tobacco and you build a fire. In the fire, you throw cedar. The cedar crackles and it tells Great Creator something's a coming. Then you take the tobacco. In that tobacco, you put everything you want to get rid of in your life. Okay? It could be just little simple things, like I have mice in my house. I want to release this inability to stop smoking, right? I want to understand why I'm in a bad relationship and get rid of it. For me, it was, at one time, it was, I need to get rid of the need to have bullies in my life. Put it in the tobacco, throw it in the fire. Then you take a second piece. And in the second piece, you put everything you want, everything you want. And in that piece, you put all your desires, your wishes for your family, the healings, everything like that. Put it in the fire. You leave it. That's it. Nice and simple. Now, in the Peruvian culture, they do something similar called the despacho. Oh my God, it's already 2 o'clock. Okay, we're going to go over. I'm sorry, guys. And in the despacho, they have quintus. And the quintu is a cocoa leaf. And you take 3 cocoa leaves and you put them together with llama fat. This is the traditional way of doing it. So here cocoa leaves are illegal, so we use bay leaves as a substitute. You can do that. And then what they have is they have this white piece of paper, like, you know, the crinkly paper you use to stuff presents with. Really, really cool. And on it, they put all this stuff, all different foods in layers until they create this mountain that goes up to the heavens. And they use cotton on the top as the clouds. And it's so beautiful. I could never memorize all that stuff. It's just one of the reasons I have a hard time with it, because like each thing is very symbolic and so beautiful. And I'll even put pictures of despachos later. But when you create the despacho, you then put it in the fire and you turn your back. And you put the quintus in, your wishes in the quintu, like you do with the tobacco. And you put all your wishes in, the stuff you want to get rid of, the stuff you want to bring back, all of these things you put in the fire, or you put it in the despacho. You put it in like a parcel, right? You tie it up with a beautiful ribbon. And you put it in the fire and you turn your back, because now the condor will come and take anything that's impure from it. And then the fire will take the rest, and the rest will go to the gods. That's the despacho. And that's a Peruvian way of doing things. They're beautiful, beautiful things. And you can read about that on the internet. What despachos are and how to do them and that kind of stuff. But again, these are things that I've been given permission to do. But if you're drawn to it, understand it. The teachers will come to you. Like, these are beautiful ceremonies, and ceremonies you can do at home. So every ceremony is also connected to an element. So you have fire ceremonies, water ceremonies, air ceremonies, and air, water, fire, earth ceremonies. So here's another one for you quickly before we leave. And that is, take a stone in your hand. Actually, I'll give you 2. And what you do is actually, I'll give you this one first. You take a stone in your hand, and if you have pain, you have sorrow, gather it up. See it in a golden ball. Put it into the stone. Scream into the stone. Cry into the stone. Be happy in the stone. Yell into the stone. And then you throw the stone as far as you can. And you can throw it in the water, because water purifies, right? If you don't have water, just throw it. Go to a big field you'll never go to again. Find somewhere you'll never go to again. Turn your back, walk away. You're leaving it behind. Another one is to draw symbols on it that are meaningful for you, and then activate it. So let's say I'm looking for money. Put a little dollar sign, right? Or put a little fish and paint it yellow, like a little goldfish, right? Which is a symbol for money. Money, bring it to me, and put it in your wallet. They used to call me the Cheerios lady at the bank, because I used to put a little piece of citrine in my wallet, and I used to put a little bit of bergamot oil. And my ritual was that every time I opened my wallet, I would breathe into it, today, this wallet is full. So whenever I would take money to the bank, they'd smell it, and it would smell like Cheerios. Bergamot oil smells like Cheerios after a while. So I was the Cheerios lady. And I actually told them what it was later, because somebody asked. She goes, I understand. How come it always smells like Cheerios? Whatever. So these were little rituals I worked with myself that I'm now giving to you. So I've given you big rituals to do, and I'm giving you tiny everyday rituals to do. So these are my gift to you. I hope that this has empowered you, enlightened. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. that you've learned a lot today. And if you want to know more about me, my name is Angel Morgan. You can catch me at Raising Energy on Instagram, raisingenergy.com, mypsychiclifestyle.com, which is our blog. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next week when we have Luis Maconza da Silva joining us. He is an Iboga medicine man and guide. He's an expert on this. He lives ceremony. So you want to know about ceremony? Next week is the week to join us. Please tell people about it because it's going to be really fascinating. Have a great day, everybody. Love you all, and we'll see you next week on my show.